Hi guys, I'm Christy and this is Created by Christy. Today we're going to learn how to do a glitter epoxy cup that has cheetah and zebra print on it. So when we're all done and finished, it's going to be nice and sparkly like this. Woo! And this. Alrighty. So to get started, I usually get holiday cups that are on clearance because they're cheaper and easier. So this is a happy fall, y'all. And we're going to start with turning it to glitter. So I use like a Mod Podge. And then I simply just take a foam brush and paint the cup. Okay, now we got the cup glittered, and I left a little hole at the top just so that I could flip it over to make it easier. And then I just take a little more of that Mod Podge and cover that little hole. Then we're just gonna shake, shake, shake right on top of that. Alrighty, we're gonna let that dry, do it again, and then we'll be ready for the next step. I always reuse my glitter because otherwise we'd be broke from buying glitter. So I like to work over like a wax paper, and then I simply just pour it back into my glitter box for the next time it's needed. So after that, now what we're going to do is go ahead and freeform paint the spots and the stripes. I looked at several pictures of leopards and stuff, and it's inconsistent, but it's mostly like a crescent shaped little C with like dots here and there. So by the magic of camera, I have one that's ready, yay! And so I like to just take a regular paintbrush, same Mod Podge, and then I just start to create those shapes onto my cup. It's not an exact science, so if you're one of those people who has to have it perfect, this will probably drive you bananas. But if you're not, you can just kind of like do it, see what happens, and go from there. Now you definitely don't want your glue to dry while you're creating your spot pattern. So what I like to do, just so that I can check it when I get a good amount painted on, I go ahead and take my black and sprinkle those spots right over the top. So now we can kind of see what we've got going on, what we need to add, and kind of where we are with our process. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. Okay, now you can see I finished the cheetah. My cheetah now has its spots and dots, and just like in nature, no cheetah is the same, so none of these cups will be the same either. So now I'm going to set it down and let it dry until it's ready for the next step. In the meantime, I'm going to move on to our silver cup and go ahead and get started with the stripes for our zebra. Now, there's no real format because just like the cheetah, the stripes are different on every zebra. So again, I take my paintbrush and I just kind of like start creating some stripes. I don't like make them all the same, and I don't make them top to bottom because I feel like that just kind of looks like a striped cup instead. You kind of want it to have some depth and dimension. So again, I kind of freehand mine on till I get something I like. And then like before, when I want to see what I'm looking at, I go ahead and sprinkle on the black to see what I'm looking at, and I can kind of gauge where I'm going and see if I want to make them thicker, bigger, longer, stronger. So I'm going to go ahead and get painting on those stripes. Okay, so now I've finished going all the way around, but what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to turn it and kind of see what I like, what I don't like, where I may want to add another stripe or variation, like if it looks too symmetrical, then I can go in like and just make sure I like what I'm seeing. But again, there's no right or wrong because it's an animal, they're in nature, and they're all different, just like you and me. So again, I'm good with that, so I'm just gonna leave it and let it dry. Okay, now I am ready to pour the epoxy resin coating that I have mixed onto the tumblers. So some people paint on, some people brush on. I put a glove on, and I've got my cup, and I apply straight to the cup. So you don't want to pour out too much or it'll all go everywhere. So just a little bit up and down, and then I spread it side to side. There, and then I kind of spin my cup. Do it again. You want to make sure everything's smooth and even so you don't have air bubbles in there. That's why when you're stirring, you don't want to stir too quickly because it puts a lot of little bubbles in there. So once you have that all the way smooth, I like to give it a little spin so I can kind of like just hold my glove down and smooth everything out to make sure it all is smooth all the way around. And if there's any places where your glove drags, that's usually where you need to go and add a little more of the coating. And then just make sure it's good at the bottom. I like to go around the top, make sure it's good on that lip because it can get kind of jagged there as well. And then this is going to spin for like 12 to 14 hours before it can be taken off. This is where if you want to add like another layer of jewels and stuff, or sequins, or gosh, I promise I can speak, of glitter, like a chunkier glitter on top, this is where you would apply that layer as well. Just depends on what sort of aesthetic you're trying to achieve for your cup. Oh, it looks like I'm already good all the way around on this one. So again, I'm just running my hand all the way around to make sure it's smooth. Smooth out the bottom. And then make sure my lip is smooth there as well. Alright, go on to the next one. I usually do at least 4 at a time to make it to where I'm not just doing, I feel like I'm always working on the cup. This way I've got cups going that have their first coat on. I've got coats going that have their decals on. So this is the first coat of 2 to 3. And I say 2 to 3 because sometimes if you mix in your chunkier glitter or whatever, on this one, on this lap, I guess that's right, I don't know, on this rotation, sometimes it'll finish off and be a little jagged on the form, so when that happens, you got to spin it again so that it's smooth before you apply your decal. So you always just want to make sure that you're doing whatever's needed for the cup. Like ideally, one rotation now and another rotation after it's been decaled should be plenty to get your cup finished. However, I have done cups that have a chunkier overlay that then require a third layer just to get it all smoothed out. Some people don't mind it if it's a little unsmooth all the way around. Other people are really anal about it being super smooth all the way. So again, you know, just depending on how picky you're being or how specific you want your look to be, then you will have to adjust accordingly. So let's say now that I wanted to add a little more to this, and I think you can see kind of, if you look in this cup, you can see where it's got the chunkier, like the little silver and iridescent sparkles. That's where we're talking about dropping on this layer. So, I have my chunkier glitters that I just keep out here for this reason. I usually keep all my super fine ones up in my glitter room. But now I'm just going to like drop it as it rotates, just to give it a little three-dimensional look to it, to give it a little more pop than it had before. And again, you don't have to do this, but you can, and this is what we're talking about when we're adding just that little pop of something else. So now they're going to spin for, like I said, 12 to 14 hours, and then we'll be ready to take them off and decal. Okay, so I have went ahead and put the decals on the cups, and I forgot to film that, so I'm kind of sorry. But so I've got the decals on there. We've got the first layer on, we've got the decals on. So now what we're going to do is put them back on the spinners, do another layer of epoxy, and let them spin for another 14 hours.